Today, of course, is Thanksgiving. What? Oh, okay, so upstairs, I guess. Okay, today is, of course, Thanksgiving. As we know, Thanksgiving is an American holiday, perhaps the most quintessential of all American holidays. It is, on one level, it's a religious holiday. We're thanking God, but it's non sectarian. It's a day that no matter what you are, you can take part in it. It's unique in that way. Uh, and as we know, it was set up originally by the Pilgrims in 1621. They were grateful to have survived the winter uh, and had a Thanksgiving feast. And throughout early American history, in the period from the colonial period up to actually the Civil War and beyond, whenever there was something good that we should be thankful for, they would declare a day of thanksgiving to God. They recognized that anything good came from God. No matter what religion they were, that was basically the idea. Um, and the concept of thanking God actually comes from this week's Parsha. Because in this week's Parsha, you have the first person who actually expresses thanks to God, and that is, of course, Leah. Now, they knew the Imahot knew that Yaakov would have 12 sons. So logically, it should be, and he had 4 wives, so you divide 12 by 4, everyone gets 3, right? Except Yehuda was Leah's 4th son. Uh, so in other words, she realized, hey, I'm going to have 4 sons. That means God is favoring me. She's very grateful to God for giving her this gift. And the name Yehuda, of course, comes from Hodu Lashem. Pray, thank you, God. And today, by the way, the Jewish people, we refer to ourselves as Yehudim, okay? That we should have in our nature to be grateful to God. Now we have to remember, and this is a distinction in the ancient world, the pre-Torah societies, the idol worshippers, they were grateful the gods didn't kill them. One of the interesting aspects is that if you look at the pagan religions, the humans were created either by accident or they were created to serve those gods, to feed them, to mollify them, etc. The God of the Torah doesn't need us. The God of the Torah created us for his purposes, but he doesn't need us to exist. If you ever look at the sacrificial service, the korbanot, nowhere in the Torah does it say that God eats. God doesn't eat. We're not feeding God when we're bringing the korbanot. The korbanot are made for us. God is saying, I'm doing this for you. You need the korbanot. I don't need them. It says that God smells the aroma of the korbanot. Okay? He's looking at your intent when you're bringing something. But again, so it's a much different concept because the pagan gods were very human. They need to eat, etc. The Jewish God, the Torah God, is not human. He's beyond space and time. And one of the interesting notes is in the book of Job, in Eov. After going through all his suffering, Job finally asked God, why? Why did this happen? And God's answer is very interesting. He says, takes him up to the mountaintop, says, Job, where were you when I created these mountains? Where were you when I created the eagles? Where were you when I did this? Where were you when I did that? Job, let's get one thing straight. You're Job and I'm God, and therefore just accept what is, and we'll straighten this out later, but just remember, we're not on the same level. But the thing is that we should be grateful to God, especially that we live in a country that really hasn't known the type of hatred against us as in other places in the world. Okay, there are problems, but we can get over those problems. There's laws that prevent such things from happening. But the thing is, we're living in a country where we're free to be as Jewish as we want to. And that for that is something for us to be grateful for. To thank God that He let us be in this time and place. Something to think about. Kai Kaddish Rabbanim.